Hi, darling. I couldn't wait to see you. I feel as though I've been gone for a month.
Yeah, come on in.
The place looks super. I brought you a little something to fill out the shelves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, when did you get back? I tried to call you late last night.
Oh, well, we got back after midnight, way after midnight. The plane kept circling and circling the airport. It was one of those flights. In fact, the whole convention was one delay after the other. But I did get your message, and I wanted to find out what this is about, a trip?
Yeah, that's why I tried to call you last night to ask you if it would be...
Well, ask me what, darling? What?
Well, it's really just a short trip to New York. Just an overnighter. I'll be home by noon tomorrow.
Well, it's no problem as far as I'm concerned, but why did you suddenly decide to go to New York?
Well, Draper has had a job offer.
A job? Where? New York?
Yeah. It's supposed to be a very prestigious law firm. At least that's what Mike and Draper say, but I've never heard of it.
Well, darling, you didn't say anything to me about a job offer. When did this all happen?
It all happened the other day, the same day you were leaving for the convention. This man came in from New York and offered Mike Carr a job.
Well, you're telling me that Draper's been offered a job that Mike Carr refused?
Well, no, not exactly. If Mike took the job, it would be a senior partnership. If Draper takes the job, well, it wouldn't be that, but Draper is sure that it would just guarantee our future.
Darling, that's ridiculous. He's doing perfectly well right here in Monticello. He couldn't ask for a better associate than Mike Carr.
Well, I know that, and I have said that to Draper, but it doesn't matter. Draper wants this job so badly he can taste it. Draper seems to think that working for Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside is the next best thing to heaven on earth.
Seward? Oh, good grief. You've got to be not serious.
You've heard of them?
Heard of them? Oh, well, David Henson just happened to have been my lawyer when I was in New York 150 years ago, and he happens to be a senior partner of that firm. So senior, he's probably dead by now.
Then it is an important firm, huh?
Yes, darling, it's a very important firm. It's too important a firm to hire anyone without having observed them very carefully for at least 10 years. Well, it's just not going to happen, that's all. You don't have anything to worry about.
But Margo, they like Draper. They like him, and they are impressed by the cases he's handled. And to be perfectly honest with you, I also think they are impressed by the fact that he is Ansel Scott's son.
Oh, yes. Yes, Well, darling, this is ridiculous. I mean, you've just bought this lovely home. I mean, you don't want to leave your home. You don't want to leave your friends, your family. I mean, what about Miles and Nicole? You don't want to move 1,500 miles away from them,
Of course I don't.
What about me? I mean, I've gotten rather used to having a daughter, not to mention an associate.
Margo, I'm sorry, but I just feel helpless.
God, darling, doesn't Draper realize you have a career you're building, too? I mean, why are men so damn selfish?
No! Draper is not being selfish.
Oh, yes, he is. The men are all the same. I mean, this woman's lib has done absolutely nothing. It hasn't changed one person's mind. They all think that they come first. Their needs, their wishes, their careers.
Margo, my working for a couple of weeks in a station can't compete with the years Draper has worked to become a lawyer. If this job means that much to him, then I have absolutely no alternative but to go with him.
What about me? I mean, I'm only your mother, and not a very good one at that.
Stop it! Margo, I know how generous you have been. Without you, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have a home or a job.
Well, if it weren't for Draper, you wouldn't risk losing them.
Margo, I don't want to lose anything I have in Monticello. Not you, not my home, not Miles, not Nicole, but Draper is my husband. And he just has to come first in my life.
Well, where is that written? I mean, what book of the Bible is that written? Oh, I'm sorry.
And I don't expect to hear from Mr. Harvey about this, but if he does call, I'd appreciate it if you'd talk to him. He's a little bit nervous about going into court on this matter.
Don't worry, Draper. I'll smooth his feathers.
Then, the Smith litigation. I'm expecting a phone call from Judge Ramirez's office about setting a trial date.
Would you like me to see his law clerk? I'll be at the courthouse for an hour or so this afternoon.
No, Mike. I would just as soon wait for the phone call. Smith isn't too anxious to go into court on this, and I figured the sooner we get a trial date, the sooner we'll get a settlement for him.
Okay. Now, what about your other client, Paige Madison?
Paige Madison. There's nothing more I can do for the girl, Mike. What she needs is a good cop, somebody to find these crazies that are trying to kill her.
Yes, that's true.
Well, those are all the problems I've left with you.
No problems at all, really.
No.
Draper, April's not too happy about this trip, is she?
No, Mike. In fact, I've never seen her look more miserable.
Nancy and I could see that she was upset when you got that phone call from New York. In fact, I wasn't sure that you'd be making this trip today.
Well, she calmed down after you left. In fact, she was very apologetic. Even said she was going to call Nancy.
No need for that. She's got enough on her mind without worrying about the niceties.
And we can't blame her for acting the way she did. That phone call from Seward brought us one step closer to leaving Monticello.
And if Seward and his fellow partners like you...
If they like me. Oh, God, Mike, I hope they like me. I hope they don't take one look at me and decide I'm too, callow.
Draper, they'll think you're young. That's not the same thing.
Mike, I am not in their league. I know that. But if you accepted their invitation and went to New York, they'd know in 2 minutes you could do the job.
So it will take you a little longer, only because of your age. Older attorneys, especially well-established ones, tend to distrust younger attorneys. And I would guess the average age of the partners of Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside must be at least 60.
Well, that's another thing that bothers me, Mike. I mean, Seward was very friendly to me, but what are his partners going to think? After all, they sent him here to get you. When he brings me back, they're liable to decide that I'm a very pale substitute.
Draper, stop being so negative.
I suppose I'm just preparing myself for the ultimate rejection. All this agony I'm putting April through. We may not be going anywhere.
But you do want the job, don't you?
Mike. Mike, you've been very good to me. I mean, you practically like my... I appreciate what you've done. But ever since I met Seward, the only thing I can think about is this job. I mean, when I first got out of law school, that was my dream, to work for Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside. Hey, maybe dreams do come true.